From Thanksgiving to the end of the year is a very melancholy season for anybody that's not home.
I know how it felt when I had to leave my family for the first time.
It'd be the first time in 30 years that we've been married we had not been together for Christmas.
Orders come up, situations come up, and you fall in line.
They have the mind power, whatever cost it is, to do their job.
Hey, I'm a soldier, I'm going to be a soldier 100%.
Christmas is what you make of it, so we're going to have Christmas when I get home.
The holiday season from Thanksgiving to New Year's is a time most Americans treasure. But every year, some of us in the armed forces will be deployed overseas to areas of conflict, away from families, friends, and the comforts of home. In the next half hour, you'll hear the memories of some of those service members from World War II to the present.
We moved up in through this area and up this point up in here and up in Luxembourg.
Todd Housel is recalling the final days of 1944, when Allied armies were closing in on Germany from the west, the Soviets from the east. Adolf Hitler made one last desperate stab at saving his Reich. In December, he sent 600,000 German troops crashing west in a surprise attack.
He caught us off balance. We paid for it.
It came to be known as the Battle of the Bulge, the largest land battle of World War II for American forces. 500,000 Americans and 55,000 British were involved. Housel's New Jersey National Guard Mechanized Artillery Unit was assigned to General George Patton's Third Army, dashing toward Germany. Now they were ordered to turn north to help stop the German advance. They'd been fighting in snow since late November. Soldiers say they lost track of days, but those who remembered the date knew they could look forward to a very white and frigid Christmas.
Cold. I am still cold today. You never were warm. And you were never dry either. You were never dry. Your feet were wet all the time.
I had been machine gunned and bombed in the water after the ship was sunk. Yeah, I get a little heated up about that.
Those vivid memories are of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. Mervyn Holley told us he spent most of his holiday seasons during the rest of the war at sea. The job at hand, he says, was too important for him to get sentimental about not being home for the holidays.
I'm dreaming.
Oh, maybe a little sentimental.
Christmas.
I dreamed of a White Christmas came out. I think that was in '42. Now that was a tearjerker. Well, most of us knew what snow was, twinkling Christmas lights and trees and all of that. And back home was nice and warm and all of that. And of course we longed for it. But in order to have it, back then, like they're preaching now, freedom don't come cheap.
Pete Carter was living in a military retirement home in Mississippi, destroyed by Hurricane Katrina. He lost pretty much everything, including his World War II memorabilia. The Armed Forces Retirement Home in Washington, D.C. took in veterans like Pete and gave them a new home. As he reflects back, he still treasures the memory of Christmas 1942. He was in Casablanca, French Morocco, where the Red Cross was providing the rare chance for each soldier to call home for 6 minutes.
I called my mother and father. Of course, it was just as well because I hadn't been home. So when I graduated college, I went into the defense program, and I didn't get a chance to see them before I went into the military, and didn't get a chance to see them while I was in the military until I came back from overseas. So that phone call was very special to me. Couldn't cover everything, but we did hit on the important points.
It had to have been hard saying goodbye at the end.
Oh, yes, well, I guess we both shed a few tears.
Ken Blackshaw's B-17 crew was supporting the post-D-Day push toward Germany in 1944, and that crew still holds reunions. While the English were glad for U.S. help in the war against Hitler, they were also often cautious in their personal relationships with GIs. But Blackshaw and his crew got an invite for a Christmas dinner with an English family from a young lady he'd met at a bar.
Her name was Joan Eyre, and she was a lovely young thing, and she had arranged it, the whole dinner, and we were going to supply the canned goods, which they couldn't get, and they were going to supply the rest of the food and the liquor, which we couldn't get either.
But bad weather forced the crew to land at an alternate location miles from that home-cooked dinner. He still has his flight log for December 24th, 1944.
Our base was closed, so we all had to land at Ipswich in another RAF base that the Americans were flying out of.
And when he tried to look her up after they got back?
I thought Joan Eyre was a great name, but of course the Jane Eyre is the famous book. It turns out that that was just a pseudonym.
Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Sad? Yeah. Homesick? Yes. But, you know, you didn't show those things. Men didn't cry, you know, in those days. That's bullshit, too, you know. And cry.
Howard Sweet isn't what you'd call a sentimentalist. He edits the weekly newspaper at the Armed Forces Retirement Home in Washington. In 1945, he was sent to Okinawa to be part of the planned invasion of Japan.
Had it not been for my coming over there, and they gave up. Also, they dropped the atom bomb. That had something to do with it, too.
To make sure the record is clear, it was the bomb that brought an end to the war. Howard then picked up some modern technology for his unit. He rigged a generator which drove 150-watt security bulbs in every tent. He got many of those materials, including the bulbs, through moonlight requisitions, impromptu raids on storage facilities. One of his last acts in Okinawa, lighting a Christmas tree with, of course, 150-watt bulbs.
I lit up the Christmas tree, and I got aboard the ship on the 25th of December. And I remember mostly coming back. Oh, it was lonely, yeah, it was lonely. My kid's sister, one of my sisters sent me Spam for a Christmas present. And anything we had, plenty of it was Spam. But they had to give up bread points for them, you know, it was rationed.
Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe.
As a young soldier, Richard Robinson was deployed to Korea in 1951 at the height of that conflict. He was assigned to 8th Army headquarters and missed the tough fighting, but a close childhood friend wasn't so lucky and was assigned to the front. The two got a chance to reunite over the holidays, adding a touch of home to the season for both.
He got a 3-day pass, so he came down looking for me. And so he found me, and I just happened to be in the shower at the time. Of course, we had good facilities at 8th Army headquarters, and he tapped me on the butt with his rifle, and there he was. He looked like one of them Wooly and Joe characters, you know, all dirty. And he was a little disappointed that I was putting on white underwear. He hadn't seen white underwear in 6 months, you know. I set him up with some clean fatigues, and we went to the movies, and we had a snack bar in Seoul. So we spent a good 3 days just reminiscing and talking and enjoying each other's company.